Hey everybody, it's Dr. Shawn Powers and happy Tuesday. Hey, there's a new setting here and I am not even sure if I am live. I think I am. Anyways, happy Tuesday. It is Power Up Your Life and Practice Tuesday, and I am here to share with you ways that you can execute your vision and you can have greater impact and enjoy the process while you're doing it. So today the title is How to Get Stuff Done when you should use procrastination. Like, it's kind of counterintuitive, isn't it? But here's what I want to let you know. You got this, girl. You got this guy. You got this mama. You got this student who's ever listening out there. Let me know where you're listening from and let me know where you're coming from. But I want you to know you've got this. All right. So I know that I'm always talking about how to get more stuff done, how to get more clarity, how to impact the world with your product, service, and idea. And so if you don't know me, I'm Dr. Shawn Powers, and I am here because I know that you have something that's going to make an extraordinary difference on the planet. So let's go ahead and let's cover in the next vital 15 minutes. I always promise to give you great content in a short amount of time so that you can gather your team, gather your power partners, gather those who are helping you move the human race forward and doing what you love around and get this information and get it out into the world. So the very first thing that you've got to make a decision about is, what's your identity? Do you have absolute clarity on your identity? Because listen, if you don't have absolute clarity on your identity, you will not get stuff done. You might get somebody else's agenda done. You might move somebody else's goals further towards making impact. But if you don't have your own identity clarity about who you are, what do you want to accomplish? And more importantly, asking yourself this. Let me just say this. If you're not getting the stuff done that you think is important, if you're not getting the stuff done that you want to, if there's a gap between where you are and where you want to be, most likely you're not showing up as the person who would close the gap, who would accomplish that goal, who would manifest more new patients or create higher retention or increase their income, be financially free, create a rock star dream. So your identity clarity is really vital. Who are you? What do you want to accomplish? How are you? Is your behaviors congruent with the person, the outcome, the dreams that you have? And if not, what do you need to do to drop it, eradicate it, change it to become that person? So I often think about behavior management, right? So am I behaving in the way that will be congruent with my goals? Second thing, and I just want to let you know, stay till the end, right? Because at the end, I'm going to give you a super powerful power up that literally will put all these things together and boom, make you more productive, make you get your goals, and more importantly, know when you should procrastinate. So just remember, you've got this, right? So keep saying that to yourself, right? Because the words we use, the things we say inside of our head can dictate how we behave, what our identity is, and what we accomplish and what we don't. The second thing is that you need to set habits congruent to what you want to get done, right? So I look at, are my habits consistent with my goals and my outcomes? If I want to achieve, like, I was in Dallas last week, and so we are having a break. I taught 6 hours there, and they have a break, and they have brownies. And I gotta tell you, I am a chocoholic, especially I Jones for brownies. And I battle my weight all the time. I ran this morning in between clients and prepping and getting ready for this, but I found myself eating that brownie, and I was like, shh, shh. Is this congruent with who I want to be? Are my habits of eating a brownie going to allow me to stop, right? Lose the weight that I want, be able to run easier and to go faster? No, they weren't. So again, I think sometimes you just really have to stop, assess, evaluate. I'm sorry. I'm, oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever sneezed on a live before. Hey, but let me say this to you. People are going a little crazy out there about the coronavirus, et cetera. And so if you want some good information to hand out in your office about increasing immunity and things that they need to know, just drop immunity in the comments. And that sneeze, I guess, was put in there for me to help you boost your immunity. And every Tuesday after I'm done doing my live, I go and get my power on. I go and get reconnected. I go and increase my adaptability, and I go and get adjusted to allow my body to do all that. So I digress. I was talking about habits and behavior management as key to your success, right? So identity clarity, behavior management, habits, those are the first two things that allow you to get more stuff done. Now, last week I was talking about how to guarantee success in finishing up this month strong and guaranteeing your success in terms of what you accomplish in the first quarter of the year. So I talked about a lot of steps. And if you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it so we can be celebrating together at the end of the month. But just one thing about looking at how to get things done is that you need to create a sacred relationship with time. So in order to get things done, we all have 24 hours in a day, and some people accomplish amazing things. And I asked you in the promo for this video, do you ever feel like your to-do list is longer than the Nile River? Do you ever feel like you get into bed, you drag yourself into bed at night, and you're like, what did I even get done today? Where did the day go? And so one of the things I'm going to recommend to you is to have a sacred relationship with time. And what I mean by that is you look at your time and you look at your day in blocks, right? So in the morning, what's that block of time before you leave the house to go and practice? What do you do in terms of planning, preparing? Or maybe you do your block of planning at the end of the evening. Everybody is different. So I really want you to get the sacred relationship with time and looking at things in terms of blocks. The blocks that I would recommend are having a block of time where you plan and you prepare. I recommend that you have a block of time for self-care, a block of time for family, friend, connection, and collaboration. And when we go into practice, we're in service time. But in order to give extraordinary service and care of our practice members, we also have to have admin time, promo time, renewal time, rejuvenation time. So take a look at how you spend your minutes, how they string together into your hours and your day, and carve out and pay attention and focus in what you do during certain blocks of time and when not to mix things up, right? So like oftentimes when I went for a run this morning, I was listening to something. So I'm mixing up learning and exercise at the same time. That's a very feasible way. I would not be mixing up a client conversation while I'm doing a workout because all my blood would be not in my brain to help, but down in my legs to make me run faster, right? So here's what I want you to realize is that you've got to carve out time for the things that are most important to you. And we talked about that at the top. Like, who are you? What do you want to accomplish? And are you the person who is going to be able to execute that dream, to have the impact, to have the vision, to have the joy you want? And so that sacred relationship to time is so vital. and blocking out your time. I mean, I believe in a little wiggle room, but I also believe in writing certain things in stone. In my practice, I want performance enhancement sessions where we are improving our performance written in stone, that all my team is there. There are times that I meditate, I pray, I prepare. That is written in stone, and I don't let any fudging in there. Now, I might have flexibility. Do I work out in the morning, midday, end of day, according to my other schedule? But your promotional activities in the office, your retention strategies, carve some of that. And obviously, your service time is carved in stone. But have a really set, sacred, carved out time for the things that are most important for you and that will help you grow the most and have the greatest impact. I also believe in setting time limits, right? Because the reality is, human beings, we know that if we have a lot of time, we usually like drag something out, right? And I've spoken to you about this before, about Pomodoro. So if you don't know what Pomodoro is, just put that in the comments and I'll be happy to connect with you and let you know. So right now you might be sitting there and thinking, wow, I've got some clarity. I've got to look at my time and where I use it. And the other thing about your time is you got to look at where there are the sinkholes, right? I live in California, and across the world, there are these things that sinkhole, like something just collapses. And you've got to evaluate, where are your sinkholes and what is causing you to lose time and not stay focused in the block of time you've created to accomplish what you want. All right. So if you're with me, this is making a difference. Just give me a thumbs up. I have a masterclass coming up tomorrow where I'm going to go even deeper on how to create the freedom of time, money, and energy to live your best life. So if you want that, drop masterclass in the comments as well, and I'll make sure to get you an invitation. So the reality is that sometimes we've got a mission, we've got a plan, we create a schedule, we've got our identity, we've got our habits, but when is it a good time to procrastinate? Yes, I want you to really realize that sometimes it is a good time to procrastinate. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, here's the reality. We all procrastinate at some point in our lives. It's just a natural human tendency. And the question is whether you are an active procrastinator or whether you're a passive procrastinator. Now, sometimes it's good to be a passive procrastinator. You're in your time block of rest, rejuvenation. That's when you get to sit on the lounge chair or sit on the couch and simply rest and rejuvenate. So it's really not procrastination, it's rest and rejuvenation. But sometimes it is a good idea to be an active procrastinator. And an active procrastinator might be you're getting things checked off your list, and it's making room for getting prepared to do the most important thing. Now, last week I talked about eating the biggest frog first and making that difference where you do the hardest, most difficult thing the earliest in the day, or the time when you have the most energy, because we all know we use up our discipline muscle. But again, each of you are different, and you've got to know yourself. You need to know how to manage your own behavior. And sometimes procrastination, it might be, oh, I checked that box, and then it kind of builds up your strength to get something else done. So again, be an active procrastinator. That means you're not getting stuff done. It might mean that you're just not getting everything done at that moment in time. And you might know that the little things build your momentum. Again, the key to understanding yourself. The other thing about procrastination is that it helps us determine the value and the importance of a task that we might have on our list. We might say, I should do this. And if we keep procrastinating, listen, as you know, I'm a big believer in reflecting, to have that hour of power plus or minus every week where you're reflecting. So if you keep seeing something on your list that you keep not doing, the best question that you can do is stop and say, is this really important? Is it really valuable? Or maybe, is it even something I should have on my list, right? So procrastination sometimes can give us some insight about whether the task that we have that we're procrastinating on is valuable. I always remember that in practice, there are things, I might do or CAs might do that are a little bit more challenging. So we might, CA might be like, I'm taking out the garbage. Of course, that is like on the lowest priority because face paper, you could smush it down and keep filling up the can, right? But when somebody's missing in action and we need to connect with them and check in on them, that's sometimes an uncomfortable feeling for somebody to do. So they would procrastinate on an important task or a challenging task and do an easy task. So again, procrastination could be a way for you to evaluate the task, its value, and the individual, yourself especially, or on your team who keeps avoiding that, so that you know whether or not it's valuable or whether or not that person has that ability. All right, so the last part about procrastination is the best time to procrastinate is when you're not having a resounding, innate, absolute yes. If you're like, I don't know, this doesn't feel right, I'm not sure, there's hesitancy, that's the best time to procrastinate. The best time to procrastinate is when it's not an absolute for you, when there's fear or there's pressure. Then pause and say no. All right, so we're almost over the allotted time. And the last tip I wanted to give you was that the best way to get things done is utilize the art of saying no, coupled with the art of delegation. All right. So there are some things that you should say no to and you should delegate out. There are some things that you should say no to because it's not in alignment with the vision you desire, the actions you've outlined for yourself, the impact that you want to create, and the joy you want to experience. So the last tip is learn how to say no. It's an absolute sentence, and learn how to appropriately delegate. And that's a whole other class. So just to go through real quickly, remember, have your identity clarity, know who you are, what you want to do, and what you want to impact. Make your habits and manage your behavior congruent with who you want to be and what you want to accomplish. And then finally, in the first part of things, how to get things done, is to develop a sacred relationship with time and block things out in relation to the focus and the intention of that block. And finally, when to procrastinate, realize we all do it, but make sure it's active procrastination, not passive procrastination. And realize that sometimes procrastinating helps you understand the value and the need and the individual, and then never feel bad about procrastinating if it's not in alignment with you. And remember, no is a complete sentence. So I am here every Tuesday to power up your life and your practice. I have a masterclass series. The last one is tomorrow. So if you'd like to come on in, just drop masterclass in the comments and I will send you an invite. And in the meantime, remember that you have the power to change lives with your two hands, your sacred heart, and your anchored mind. And people need what you have now more than ever. And it's time for you to do it, baby. So I love and appreciate you. Peace out. Have a beautiful day. Go out there, save lives, change lives, and rock and roll and have some fun.